First, please take a deep breath. Inhale fully. Expand your chest and stomach. And exhale all the tensions and stress out. First, we just appreciate today we got the time to reflect on the precious wisdom of the Buddhas and the great masters. As you have studied Dharma for many years, you can see the nature of the samsara. So, Dharma is the only solution of this conflicts, especially the mental conflicts. How to dissolve all the mental afflictions into the wisdom. Understanding all these conflicts are just creation of the confusion of the mind that can only be resolved by the Dharma study practice. So for this we appreciate. This is not just as religion or religious training, as I mentioned. This is something we need in our daily life. To create, to bring some peace in the mind and happiness in our life. So then, after that, as we said these opening prayers, we cultivate our artistic thought. That today I will study these teachings to achieve complete enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings. Because every sentient being, as we know, their desire for peace and happiness. Every sentient being's desire to free from suffering. In that, there's no any differences. But these sentient beings, they don't have this opportunity. Their whole beings are just involved in the confusion, in the state of suffering. So today I will study the wisdom of the Buddha to free our confusion. So also we say to achieve the freedom from the confusion. So this involves the loving kindness, compassion, and wisdom. So reflect on this. No matter what kind of different methods we try, it all comes at the end. Just we need to just purify our mental afflictions and reveal our nature of the mind. Our nature of the mind is pure by itself. We are not making pure, but it is pure by itself. but we could not recognize, or we have failed to recognize that. So Dharma gives us the wisdom to see that reality. So we appreciate that, we reflect that. And today, as you know, is a song, a teachings by Milarepa. It's called The Eight Bardos. This is very profound, you see. Actually, this cannot be finished within like 3 hours, you know. This can be explained for at least for 3-4 days. We need this. Then after, with that, we may get some understanding. But anyhow, today we'll just touch on these. And you know, the Bardo is very popular in the world. Tibetan Book of the Dead, you have heard of from there, you know, Bardo teachings. But this is a very, say, profound, or more profound than that. This contains the complete teachings of Buddha and Mahamudra, or Dzogchen you can call. It's the ground, path, fusion, very inclusive. And this is talked by Milarepa as Kampupa requested to give such teaching. You know, Kampupa was such a great enlightened master. Even before he met Milarepa, he was already a great scholar, great teacher. You know. Because he studied thoroughly all the sutra systems within the Kadamba tradition. He met many Kadamba's teachers. All that brought by Atisha. And he was well established all this in the sutra system. And also part of Vajrayana. But he hasn't received a complete Vajrayana teachings. So because of that, as well as when he heard of Milarepa, then he made journey from central Tibet to the western Tibet. And then Milarepa, he met Milarepa. And then Milarepa, knowing highly accomplished Kampupa was, so he gave all these profound teachings, Vajrayana, Mahamudra, the 6 yogas of Narupa, so forth. So with this, Kampupa became embodiment of all the complete teachings of Buddha. Not just only received the teachings, but he went to retreat, which Milarepa requested. He just continuously made a retreat for 6 years. After the 6 years, then Kampupa captured the Dhammakaya. The ultimate meaning, not just through this kind of analysis, through not just through investigation, but through the practice. He internalized the total nature of the Dhammakaya, which is not somewhere out somewhere there, but it's within you, within us. So that's why Dharma is not something we find some different places, but we have to look within us. But we need all the obscurations that we have, which is now around the nature of the mind, that we need to dispel. To do that, we need such an authentic teacher, as I mentioned, not just high title, who sits high throne. Doesn't matter whether he or she sits on the high throne or has a high title. What matters is who is internalized these teachings. At that time, Milarepa, he doesn't have anything. He sits in the cave. He stays in the cave. There's no cloth, no wealth. But he has the enlightened nature. So Kabupa saw that and went to see Milarepa. See, he realized that such teachers is such a crucial, indispensable. Those who seek the enlightenment. So teacher is very important. Sometimes we are so confused. So when you see who has a high title, who sits on a high throne, a lot of entourage, so we make more entourage to make that person more famous, so that there will be more gathering, more people. But that is not the thing we should understand to receive the complete, perfect Buddha's teaching. We should seek such a teacher who has accomplished all the teaching, that has realized, whether it's a great scholar or not scholar. Scholar is good, but internalizing the teacher is so important. So Kabupa, as he was a great scholar, after being met Milarepa, he totally internalized. So he was a combination of all those teachings. Teaching, practicing, because Buddha's concern was sentient beings need to free from suffering. That's what Buddha's concern, you see. Not how much that person has a knowledge or not. That's why Buddha spoke the Four Noble Truths right at the beginning, which is the framework of complete Buddha's teaching, whether Sutra system, Vajrayana system, Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana, all are within in this framework of the Four Noble Truths. So to free from samsara, we need to practice. So that's, we should pay attention, especially these days when we are facing difficulties in the world. There's a lot of challenges out there. Politically, maybe you can solve some. Materially, maybe you can solve some. But not all at the end of the day. All the problems, confusions, sufferings can only solved by practicing the Dharma. Bodhicitta, say, please keep that in the mind. We need to reflect on this, meditate. So as I mentioned repeatedly, our Dharma study practice is not something, training of the religion. It's not some training of some special culture, style. It's our mind. See, everybody we have mind. Whether we are young or old, no, we all want peace and happiness. We cannot say, I'm young, so I don't need to study the Dharma. We need to study Dharma from young. No, it takes a long time because we need to train the mind. Train mind means our habit, the samsaric habit. It's not easy to alleviate. It's not easy to get rid of. It is like a sticky glue, no? You see? The sticky glue is just there, it's so sticky. Can't get rid of it. It takes a long time. And there's no other alternative. Say, oh, I cannot do this. No, you give up. That doesn't solve the problem, you see. But we have to look at the Dharma, no, meditate on this, practice on this. Especially there's some very kind of juicy Dharma teachings has such a kind of penetrating the mind. Reflect on the four, now what's called, they're called four mindfulnesses. The mindfulness of impermanence, mindfulness of the suffering, the mindfulness of the looking at the no self, the mindfulness of all this causality. This is the basic, is the foundation. All is, you see, everywhere, you can go anywhere. It doesn't kind of differentiate the culture, belief system. The reality is one. The relative state of the reality nature, the absolute state of the reality nature. The relative state of the reality itself is nothing but absolute when you realize that absolute reality nature itself is manifest as the relative state. Just example, look at as we are talking about your anger, say aversion, your disliking, anger itself. As soon as when it manifests in your mind, doesn't matter anybody, everywhere, any country, but if you have the Dharma, look at directly, and anger is just a manifestation out of delusion. out of confusion. And when you have the wisdom to look at it directly, it's just a manifestation. It's just a bad habit. The habit we just continuously we just manifesting. But the wisdom when you have, it exists nowhere. No. When you see that it exists nowhere, that is called, when you have that kind of ability, the wisdom, that's what's called ultimate. The very nature of that relative state itself is not exist anywhere. So you see, neither one nor two, but we need to have that kind of wisdom. That's the wisdom of Buddha. That's how we can free from the suffering. Complaining, fighting doesn't solve the problem, but we need a skill. When we have that skill and mindfulness and the wisdom, the nirvana is where you are. There's nowhere, no special place to go. So we need that kind of wisdom. So that's the Dharma teaching is about. So as mentioned, Buddha's concern is the suffering of the sentient beings. See, to every sentient being, that's why we all have the Buddha nature. In the Buddha nature, there's no difference. It transcends all the differences. There's no prejudice. There's no need judgment. That's the Dharma teaching. That here Milarepa is now teaching here to Kambupa, as Kambupa requested the teaching. So I will read the verses. I prostrate to the saintly lamas, gurus, that all the teachings that I received from different teachers. And also there are some who are highly accomplished. So I prostrate. In particular, I go for refuge to the one who was kind, means Marpa, from whom he received all those teachings. So take refuge is, you see, Marpa is the nature of the Vajradhara. Vajradhara nature doesn't change. Never changes. That never changes. To that we take refuge. That which is reliable, trustworthy. We can't take refuge those who are changing all the time, So taking refuge is, you see, we take refuge Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, an absolute refuge to Buddha. And Buddha, that is not Nirmanakaya, not Sambhogakaya, but Dharmakaya. See? So these are some very important points just I'm making that you should keep in your heart when you practice Dharma. See? Because you have to practice by yourself. First, very important to receive all these precious teachings without mistake, no confusion. Once you receive those teachings, then you are the guru for yourself. See, if you are not practicing Dharma sincerely, you are not your guru. You know, you are deluding yourself. And then sometimes you say, oh, I mess up, you know. So this is how first important. So that's why Milarepa said, in particular, I take refuge. Who's very kind, means who gave him all the complete teachings, made him to achieve enlightenment. So then son, here son means heart son. Milarepa gave all his precious teachings to Kampupa. So you are my heart son. In answer to your prayer, in answer your prayer or request, I sing this song about the Bardos. So here, Bardo, in Tibetan, Bar means in between. Do means true, between two is duality. So here Milarepa is giving teaching, the relative state, absolute state, that duality, he's teaching in the non-duality. See, this is very important right now we practice today. I know there are some Bardo teachings, as I think last time I mentioned, Bardo of at the time of death, now Bardo of the existings, Siva Bardo, and Bardo of Dharmata. This all talking about at the time of death. But here, our Dharma practice, we practice from today. Because at the time, if we wait at the time of death, say, oh, I receive all the teaching at the time of death, how to handle that time, I think our mind is totally involved in our bad habit. And we're confused. And those teaching you receive is nowhere, you know. So you have to practice from today, from now. Then you get the benefit at the time of death. Not only that, you can get benefit now, day after day. See, so Dharma teaching, you have to get used to it. As last Saturday I mentioned, the song of the recollection. No, Rajeta, the disciple of Jigten Songkwe, he waited, but at the time of death, he lost everything, you know. So Jigten Songkwe has to bring all the teachings back. That's called recollection. So he just, once you receive teaching, then you have to practice every day in your life. So now here I say, sentient beings in the three realms of samsara, and the Buddha who have passed beyond suffering are one in their actual true nature. This is the part of the view, you see. In general, you see how you can say Buddha and sentient beings are one. It's very oxymoron, you know. It's like an oxymoronic statement. Sentient beings are suffering, confused in the six realms, and the Buddha is totally enlightened. How there can be one? But if we practice Dharma teaching, then you see one nature. That you see, first of all the sentient beings in the six realms are fully endowed Buddha nature. See, that Buddha nature is no different from the nature of the Buddha. But we, as mentioned, we fail to recognize that. We astray, we just went far from that. Going round and around and around, circle, in the duality. We could not reach to the point where our nature is. So Buddha's teaching is, as I mentioned, to transcend that gap, the gap of the confused state and enlightened state. So just for example, in the milk, there's a butter, isn't it? In the milk, there's a butter. And the butter which is produced outside of the milk, there you see, then we say, this is the butter. The butter is come from the milk. Now you ask, is the milk butter? You can't say milk is the butter. Or butter is the milk. You can't say butter is the milk. But without the butter, without the milk, there's no butter. See, without the milk, there's no butter. But that butter is not milk. Look at this, you see. So through the process, step by step, you produce the butter from the milk. And that butter is no better butter than when it's within the milk. Now, whatever the butter is within the milk, exactly that is produced. Make sense? Keep this in the mind. So our Dharma practice is how to alleviate or how to get rid of all the delusions that surround our heart. Purify. That's called purify. So we say purify our minds, but mind itself, there's nothing to purify. It's already pure. But having said that, it's not enough. Say, my mind is pure, but I'm suffering still. So I want to get out of this suffering. So that, see, so when the butter is in the milk, what need to do? All the steps that need to take out and bring the butter itself. Likewise, in our mind, all these other steps, our confusions, the bad habits, that need to be purified. That's the Dharma study, Dharma practice is about. See, when we could do this, as I mentioned, you can breathe where you are. First you say, I'm so confused, I'm suffering so much. And then as soon as you reflect Dharma, and you take a deep breath, oh, I feel much better. See, you could click your mind in the, now you could click your mind in the wisdom of the Dharma. That Dharma opens your heart. That's what's called practice. We need to practice that every day. Not just go to the retreat and for a few years, and then you come back and say, I went to retreat. If you're enlightened, of course, wonderful. But not easy. It's unlikely you are enlightened in few years in the retreat, So we need Dhamma practice every day. Meditations, it's called meditation. So that when you see that reality nature of your mind and the Buddha's mind, no different. So this is called here is an intrinsic nature, intrinsic state. No, one nature, Buddha's nature and sentient beings' natures, no different. This is, you see, is such a great relief, you see. Even though I have the Buddha nature, but I cannot say I'm Buddha because still I'm suffering. I know all the theories, but I'm not here yet. It's because of my lack of practice. It's because I could not practice successfully. No. So we need to practice that every day, but for our own benefit. No, it's not to benefit of the teacher or something, some else, but our own mind's benefit. Once you have that experience, then you can share with others, not intellectually, but through the experience. You can share, and so helpful. See? So just to get a glimpse of this, the one nature of the Buddha and the sentient beings. They say intrinsic nature. In Tibetan, if anybody speaks the Tibetan, Shisam Pap. We have the song in Tibetan here. What it said is, here, Chikamson Kowe Simjeda, Nyanganda Sanje Ni, Mubu Shila, Niluchi, Tawe Pato, Mubu Shila, Sisi, Shi. Mubu Shi is a mode of abiding. In that reality nature, there's no difference. Mubu Shila, Niluchik, see, that's the view. So we need such a perfect view. If your view is confused, if the view is mistaken, then you can't go too far. Now say, if you want to go such a beautiful place, before you go, you should know that place, what the place is about. No, what you want to see. If we don't know the place to go, just going somewhere will not reach you to that place. So how long it will take to get there, and what kind of road should take to get there, and what kind of things you can see, enjoy. All the information when you have, that's called view. Even though you have not seen, you have all the information. Then when you get all the information exactly about that place, that's like called right view. Because when you get there, you can expect what you will get. It's a view, right view. Now, having said that, you are not there. Now we need to get there. That you see, taking like a flight or driving, whatever. Next is you see the various white and red manifestations and the inexpressible innate mind are inseparable, being one in the intrinsic state. This is the part of meditation. See, here various white and red manifestation means all what you see from the eyes, all the appearance. From the eyes, you see all the different things, shape, colors. You can hear different sound, smell, taste, touch, all, and then all this. And then, and the inexpressible innate mind, that mind itself is inexpressible. If you look at your mind right now, where your mind exists, outside the body, inside the body, or mixed with the body, or where, what color it is, how big it is, how small it is, you cannot express. You see, it's the same. It's my mind, your mind, Buddha's mind is the same, It's inexpressible. Means we have all the different those experience. But mind itself is inexpressible. See? So these two are inseparable. All the experience in the mind. And then itself, mind itself, is inseparable. See? In that you see intrinsic nature. Nyungma, so that will you practice. See, this is the practice you do, meditation, to reach to the absolute view. So our practice should be according to the view, not separate from the view. So that's our kind of practice we follow. In your life, you see there are a lot of different things in the, sometimes so much stress, suffering, lot of confusion, sometimes happiness, joy, all these things in your life. But all these things, if you have mindfulness, they all come and go. They're nothing, special. Exists outside of us. The nature is emptiness. So we need to have such mindfulness to follow that. So that we follow the practice, that's called meditation. So that true duality we transcend, not just out of hatred or aversion, but we transcend with great wisdom to see non-duality nature and meditate on this, follow the path. So it's called, this is a part of meditation. See? Then you follow step by step. In this first, as I mentioned, when we do meditation, first look at the impermanence of the life. If you look at the impermanence of the life, everything is impermanent. And that gives us such great joy, peace, not too attached, when we have something, some good things going. When there's some bad things going, there's no aversion because they're impermanent. So that helps to touch to the intrinsic nature. The intrinsic nature can never change. It's not something like permanently exists something, but that reality nature itself cannot change. So we just meditate on that. Through this meditation, maintaining that, as I mentioned, this goes according with the view. Then next is conduct, you see, delusory appearances in their various manifestation, and one's own non-arising mind are one as non-dual co-emergence. This is the part of conduct. It means, you see, she said, delusory appearances means in the mind we have all these mental afflictions right now. There is ignorance. Because of the ignorance, not realizing how things exist, then there's attachment, desire, there's aversion, anger. All those are manifest within this deluded mind. See, that's why I said delusory appearance in their various manifestation. See, various manifestations, all the 6 realms, all this. But we should have such conviction. All this is just nothing but manifestation. Then we don't follow into this delusory experience. We are not deluded by the delusions because we know we have the conviction, we have the wisdom to see it. See, so their nature itself is that the one's own non-arising minds. See? That's in Tibetan it's called, you see, say, Rasim Kyawa Mabachin, not on our Tuniasan, not on our Tuna, Rasim Kyawa Maba, Nime Linji Kebachik, say, Rasim Kyawa Maba, non-arising. Sometimes they use birthless, sometimes they use unborn or non-arising. So these words you should understand. Unborn, so unborn nature of your mind, non-arising nature of your mind, birthless nature of your mind, you see. Of course, there is, like saying, the tree grows, the flower opens, the child is giving birth, or mother gives the birth to the child. This all they are in relative state. But if you investigate carefully, like say, flower is born, is grow. If you just through the quantum physics theory, you just investigate dust particle. Each of these, like flower, when you cannot find an independent flower, make sense? When you cannot find an independent flower through the investigation of the dust particle, how there's a birth of flower, how the flower grows. So from that, it helps us to see the flower, what you see is just a manifestation of many causes and conditions. It's not independent. It's not a permanent. See? But we are so attached to that illusory nature. And then there comes the suffering. Because it's deluded. See? The delusion is there. So that's why we need very sharp meditation. See? Our very busy, gross mind has no place, no space to capture that fine wisdom, subtle wisdom. So there's also your mind, you see. Sometimes we say, this meditation is very difficult, I cannot do it. Then that doesn't solve the problem. You see, the suffering is there, you know. So that's why I say we need a conviction. So I have to practice. If I want to free from suffering, you see, tell to yourself, going around, in the, like, say, nightclub, all these machines, you just go around, say, I enjoy that. But then at the end of the day, you messed up. Your suffering is so deep. Now what to do? See, so we have to take care beforehand. We should use our kind of a sense of the responsibility to yourself and practice, you see. That's what's called practice, mindfulness. You see. Generally, nowadays, everywhere, so our mind is so scattered. And then, the dementia is becoming very popular. Popular means now it's coming so much, And then we are forgetting so too much. So then people are talking mindfulness, you see. So now they are talking about the mindfulness, not from religious point of view, but it's useful in the society. So exactly Buddha's teaching, the Dharma is useful to all the society. So we all should take responsibility, be helpful, share this wisdom, help each other in the world. As other dimension, not just turning into Buddhist, Sometimes it's kind of confusing, So now this person says turn into Buddhist. It's not really. You are starting practicing Buddha's wisdom and making effort to free from the suffering. So that's why I say this conduct. We need it's called pure conduct. Means not fall into the delusion. If we don't know how to practice this well, sometimes we are making group and becomes a cult. And again, there are a lot of confusion there, you see. So here, it's delusionary. We have to purify all the delusion of the mind. They try to create some special training, with this, that. But when you don't have this incisive wisdom, doesn't help us to free from suffering. You make more delusion, more suffering. So we have to have such a kind of clear picture. What about those delusions? Without touching how to purify the mental afflictions, no matter how much you designed things. So this is way, this is how to sit, now how to make the tea, and there's a lot of things, how to plant the flowers. So in the Buddhist way, how to plant the flowers, how to make tea, how to sit, all these structures they are making, but without touching the mind, doesn't solve the problem. We have to solve the problem, all the mental afflictions, no matter what kind of tea where you make or the flower you're planting, how you're sitting or walking, all comes to the mind. Of course, there's a way of sitting, meditating, reflecting, but these all are just a kind of a way how to organize your mind. But if we forgot the mind itself, how to make outer appearances beautiful, that I think is just more another kind of garbage, See? So you have to reflect yourself, your mind. In other words, we have to know how to be sincere to ourselves. Make sense? Out of Buddha's wisdom, Buddha's compassion, skill to make our mind be healthy. The wound of the mind is more difficult to heal than the wound of the body. The body wound is easier to heal, but the mind wound is not easy to heal. It takes time, but it can be healed only through the Buddha's wisdom. If there is others, of course we should appreciate, rejoice, respect. There's no question about it. But here is, what Milarepa is saying, the delusionary appearance. You should not fall into the delusionary state. Avoid, which is a cause of suffering, need to avoid. Bring together all the cause of the peace and happiness. As I mentioned, and it came to us, all those teachings are functions within the framework of the causality. Everything functions within the cause and conditions. And we have to have such wisdom. What are the right cause and conditions? Just for example, I want to free from suffering, and you kill like some animals, and you are creating such a cause. No? And we don't know what kind of cause that we are making for suffering. But if I help not to kill, then that becomes the right cause for peace and happiness. Just for example, all actually nowadays, the drugs, very strong drugs. At that moment, you feel like, say, some relief, so much mental pain, there's some relief. So that helps me. Now I want to have that drugs. No matter how much you take the drug, you will never get out of the suffering, confusion, because it's the direct cause of suffering. But if we make effort to get rid of the drug, maybe you're so attempted, lot of temptations there, but you work hard. That's called working hard. Work hard to purify the temptation, the habit. Once you get out of that drug, then you feel your life is so peaceful. Make sense? That's what is now. Our Dharma practice is purifying our mental afflictions. Those are like a drug. There's a chemical, artificial. So purify those artificial chemicals, drugs of the mental afflictions. And maintain your mind within the state of the compassion. Not just compassion is enough, wisdom. No. Sometimes there's so much compassion. Oh, I have a compassion. But without wisdom, compassion cannot go too far. Then we need a skill. See, that's called skillful means. So through these methods, practices, helps us, our mind, to free from all these delusions. So maintaining that state is called pure conduct. Now understand? Now say view, meditation, conduct. This all have to go together. Like such a skilled chef, that chef has to have a view what to make the dish. Then he has to prepare in his mind as a meditation, in the kitchen, all this put together, cooking all this. But then he has to have a conduct. Well, it's cooked, not cooked, all this, how it is tasted. All this come together. When you have all this, then you will make such a delicious meal. Likewise, when we practice Dharma, we need a pure view, then pure meditation, then a proper conduct. If there's no conduct, like say in your organization, a group there, lot of confusion, as I mentioned, like alcohol consumption and drug addict, all these things there, whole your group, whole your society group is confused. A lot of problems there, you see. Any group in the monastery, nunnery, Dharma centers, everywhere, we need these three in order to keep your group pure and practice Dharma successfully. In our individual's life, in a group, in the society. So you see, as mentioned, our Dharma study is not as just a religious training. Buddhism is not a Buddhism. It is a universal requirement. See, it's a universal requirement for our peace and happiness. See, everywhere you go, the world is confused enough. You see, enough confusion everywhere. All the country you go, even Buddhist country, they're suffering because they don't know Buddhism, or they don't know what Buddha is teaching, or they are not practicing. See? So that's as mentioned, who is called Buddhist, but then they involve all their delusions into their delusions, and they're suffering as well, you know. So what it makes difference? So we practitioners should have that kind of pure. Okay. I can go one more. So these three: view, meditation, and conduct. Okay. They have to go together, without contradicting each other. Harmonize in the method, practice. But say, when you study emptiness, just for example, Heart Sutra. Heart Sutra is very popular, the Heart Sutra. Heart Sutra talks about the emptiness. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. You get a glimpse about the emptiness, what it's about, but you have not realized yet. No. Now to realize, having that view, you have to meditate on that. See, that's called meditation. See, how form is emptiness, how feeling is emptiness, how perception is emptiness, how mental formation is emptiness, how consciousness is emptiness, the five skandhas. That's called meditation, to capture the view. Now, while you are meditating on this, you keep your conduct pure. If you say emptiness has no virtue, no non-virtue, so you do what you like, and automatically our mental is afflicted. So we go in the wrong direction, and suffering is bound to come. And then we fail. We will fail to realize our view. So our conduct should be pure. Our conduct should be free from all the non-virtuous actions, physically, mentally. So this has to go through step by step. With that, then we have a great opportunity to realize the emptiness, you see. So that's why I said Milarepa now giving this such a profound teaching to Kampupa. So these three first, the view, the meditation, the conduct, see. Then next, you see, last night's dreams arise from habitual patterns. We know them to be false when we awaken. These states are one in being illusion-like. This is the part of dreams. So in Tibetan we have Dangsum Pacha Melam Tangs. Sene Juntu Sheba Nye, Jumatabio Ngantu Chik, This is a very profound explanation, really, In the dream, you have something. Sometimes you go to on the mountain, beautiful mountain, you're climbing on the beautiful mountain. You have such a kind of happy or joyful moment. Oh, this beautiful place. And in that dream, during that dream, it's real for you. You are climbing up the mountain, or you are swimming in the ocean. Or sometimes the dream, there's such a kind of, disaster, flood, fire, Your heart's beating in the dream. They are real in the dream. But that moment, if you wake up, there's no mountain. There's no fire. See? There's no water flooding. So it is lie. It's not true. In the dream, it is true. You cannot deny it. When you have such a beautiful dream, when you wake up, oh, I wish I had that. I wish if I stay in the dream longer, Or when there's such a kind of flood or those things there. So when you wake up, your heart is beating, Oh, I'm so happy. It's not true, Same thing in our life. Sometimes your friends come together, wonderful, have a lunch or cup of tea, sharing, say joy, each other. You're so happy, Sometimes your neighbors, they're complaining each other, fighting each other, and makes us such kind of suffering. But when it's past, it's no longer there. You see. That's why I say, he's saying, last night dreams arise from habitual patterns, what you are mostly habit. Mostly habit comes, occasionally manifests in the dream without habit. But in many cases, the habit comes in the dream. Like if you miss your friend, your dear friend missed, then it comes so often in your dream. See? And then it brings a lot of recollections. It's a habit. So in the habit, you see these all different things manifest in the dream. But you wake up is mentioned here. When we know them to be false, when we wake up from the sleep, we know it's not true. It just happened. You say, last night I had a dream, meeting my friends, old friends, went to places, went to a coffee shop, like these things. And after that, what you say, these states are one in being illusion-like. So both are in the dream and during the daytime, whatever. So both are illusory nature. We think the daytimes are more real. And dreams are more unreal. But as I mentioned, during the dream, whatever happens, you have the same experience, feeling good or bad. Sometimes in the dream, something happens, you just cry in the dream, crying, So somebody comes, wake up, what happened, Oh, I miss my friend, That's why I was crying. Because in the dream, you have this same kind of feeling, good or bad, as the daytime, both the illusory nature. Illusory nature doesn't mean negative. Sometimes people think, illusions, negative. No, I don't like to have the illusion. I like to have a real, But real is also illusory real, okay? Illusory real is illusion anyway. Especially now we are like me, I'm getting older and older, So now I see how everything is illusory nature. No? So when you see everything is illusory nature, then you see it helps to your practice Dharma. When we are young, we are very energetic. We have a lot of, we are very ambitious. Our projects, of course, we should have an ambition. We should have a project, but not too much attached to it. No. If you are successful, appreciate, rejoice. If you're not successful, don't be too upset. People are really upset. Then the suffering is so much there. So that way you see, just see everything as illusory nature. The dream is illusory nature. The daytime is, everything is illusory nature. You see that. Then see, that's the practice, you see. Then you rejoice your life. Because there's a peace. When all these mental afflictions are settled, this gross manifested mind, when they're settled down, then there's a peace. When there's a peace, there's happiness. You see, that's what it means. And you don't have to create, kind of say, artificial things. Just you have to just reflect your mind, meditate on this. Everything's like an echo. That somebody will praise you, and the others will kind of saying bad things about you. If you attach to the person who is praising you, and that when there's somebody is blaming you, and then you are struggling between the person who is praising and person who is blaming, Now what should we do? You are pulling back and forth, I have to get rid of that person. He's blaming everything, And then person who is praising you, I have to lift up that person. So our life is between duality. But instead, if you know how to live within in the echo, everything is an echo. Then you are not much bouncing back and forth. So that you have to practice, you see. When I said these things, it makes sense. But if you don't practice, it doesn't help. Intellectual is there. Oh, I understood. Oh, this is very wonderful. It is very helpful, you know. But if you don't practice, the feeling is there still. If somebody is blaming, you know, about you, so, oh, it's painful. I don't like it, you know. That person, I have to get rid of that person. This person always blaming, you know. But if you practice, it's an echo. Let it go. No. If somebody is praising you, acknowledge, appreciate, but don't attach. Okay. Now, shall we make a short break? Yeah, first take a deep breath. Inhale fully. And exhale. Just please reflect what we went. View, seeing the one nature of the Buddhas and sentient beings. And that is our goal, objective goal to achieve as a Dharma practitioner. To actualize that goal, the view, now next is the meditation. See, all these appearances, whatever, from the eyes, ears, nose, tongues, body, mental, all this, their nature is nothing but empty. And we meditate on that. That's called meditation. And conduct all these delusory manifestations in the samsara, in the 6 realms of the samsara. Whatever mental negative thoughts manifest, or good thoughts, we don't attach to it, we don't hate to it, maintaining in the state of the wisdom, which means these all are again, it's just a delusory nature. Just we meditate on that and maintain not falling into non-virtuous conduct. And the 4th, the life is like a dream. You can see the mirage in the summer, hot, so hot, desert land. And from the distance, you can see the mirage, like a river running. And then animals, they chase the mirage. Or people who don't realize it is mirage. They think it is water, and they chase it and never get it. So samsara is like a nature of the mirage, nature of the dream. It's illusory nature. It's impermanent. No matter how much we chase the 8 worldly concerns, we will never satisfy. We'll never quench the thirst from the river of the mirage of the samsara. See that nature, meditate. And see, everything is constituted within the framework of the causality. All that they come and go. Like a machine, if one wire is missing, that machine doesn't work. Oh, it's just no manifestation. Just look at it, meditate, purify our mental afflictions. Okay, thank you. Please have a short break, maybe 10 minutes. It's okay? Okay. Great. Thank you. Okay, we'll resume the talk. Okay. Now, first, please relax your mind. Take a deep breath. Inhale fully. And then exhale. So now, we want peace today, happiness today. We need peace, happiness tomorrow, next year, and at the time of death, and during the death, all the way, we will need peace and happiness. There's nothing to change about that. All is about this. So Dharma give us a method, instruction, how to achieve that. That's the Dharma. Dharma means the wisdom of the Buddha. It is not something Buddha has created. It's not a Buddhism. But Buddha Dharma is a Buddha's wisdom, which brings out, introduces us how everything functions within the causality. The world functions within the causality. But we get this wisdom directly, saying everything is functioning in the causality. As I mentioned many times, whether you are in the political world, in the business world, in the high-tech world, whatever, you all have to think, what kind of cause I have to create? What kind of cause I have to bring up to make the things better? Politically, so how to make the world better. Business-wise, how to make the world better. All the high-tech that involves how to make a better high-tech. But if we don't have the real wisdom, if we don't have the real compassion, then this all becomes a cause of suffering. You see, if we have a wisdom, if we have a compassion, then we can make a better cause So all is the cause. Sometimes when our ego is so involved, they call self-aggrandized ego. And then that, because of that environment, we create a cause, lot of confusions, and then a lot of sufferings there, you see. So these confusions, these sufferings are connected, related to the cause and conditions. See, these confusion, sufferings, they don't manifest or they don't come out without cause, or from the wrong cause, or from the incomplete cause, or from without cause. See, they all just manifest according to the cause that we have created. So that's why if you read Jewel Ornament of Liberation, right at the beginning, the book mentioned all the phenomena are within in the samsara and the nirvana. The nature of samsara is emptiness. But the mental information, not information, but the mental formation, the mental state of samsara is confusion. See. So because of that confusion, means confuse the cause for right and wrong. So within the confusion, we create the only cause of suffering. So samsara characterized as a suffering. See, it's very important. The nature of the nirvana is emptiness. But the mental formation of the nirvana is free from the confusion. And all the confusion exhausted. So that characterized as free from suffering. You see, both confusion and the non-confusion, the nature as emptiness is no different. But you see, because the confusion, the suffering is there. When there's no confusion, there's no suffering. So our Dhamma study practice is all about how to dispel this confusion. That's why Milarepa mentioned the view of the Buddha and sentient beings in their innate nature is same. See, so that's our Dhamma practice, you see. So it's very easy, you see. If you read a very thick book, there's so many quotations, so much arguments, back and forth. No, this school believes this, that school believes this believes. All the tenet systems there is there because the mind is unlimited. Our mind is such profound. So to comprehend this, the profound profundity of the mind, the vastness of the mind, so there are that kind of teaching. But when you simplify all into that state, so you see, so whole universe is contained within the single dust particle. See, that very single dust particle pervades entire universe. It's amazing, you see. That's what shows emptiness of all phenomena. See, like Milarepa, he could fit in the yak horn or buffalo horn very spaciously without being shrank. Neither the horn become bigger. See, that shows everything is nature of the emptiness. But everything functions within the emptiness. So inseparable nature. That's why I said dream time, daytime, all are illusory nature. Meditate on this. We need to practice on this. Through this, all what we have to do is, I mentioned, all our mental afflictions need to be purified. This is our emphasis, you see. Our emphasis is to purify the mental afflictions. This self-grasping, self-cherishing, because initially the self itself does not exist anywhere. It is imputed. We are so habituated, our imputed. So therefore, we cannot see the self, no matter how much we try, because it's imputed. So Dharma practice is to see, to relate to our reality nature. They call innate nature. That's why you say that there's a lot of words, uncontrived, unfabricated, free from the chemicals. So more we purify these our mental afflictions, the mental chemical of the afflictions are purified, greater there's a peace, you see. This cannot happen just by saying some mantras, by saying some prayers. We have to work with the cause. So say, I'm hungry. Then I say prayers. Oh, I'm hungry. May I get a food? I'm hungry. May I get a food? Please give me a food. I can pray whole day. I may not get the food. You can chant that prayer whole day. But instead, you just go to the kitchen, cook, or go to a restaurant, so you can get a food, something to eat, Prayer is good to inspire, but prayers are not the solution. The solution is action. That's why 6 parameters are designed there. If prayers are alone enough, no need to express the 6 parameters. Practice of generosity, moral ethics, patience, of forbearance, diligence or perseverance, samadhi, meditative concentration, wisdom, awareness. So these are designed there. It shows we need action. And this all is, as I mentioned, we are creating the cause for more peace and happiness. Deleting out all the cause of the peace, all the cause of suffering. We need to know, we should have a wisdom how to delete the cause of suffering and become rich cause for peace and happiness. See, that's really rich. Rich may not be so rich if we don't have contentment, if we don't have appreciation. One may become rich by contentment, by appreciation. So this kind of method will keep us by the Dharma. Dharma teaching that we need to study, practice. It's so important, so precious, you see. I am my own teacher. We have to realize that the outer teacher, they come and go. See? So that's why Buddha said, rely on the Dharma, not rely on the person. That's why we take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharmakaya. See? So these are such important points. And then next is this one now. The impure five skandhas and the pure five families of the victorious ones, victorious means Buddha, are one within the non-conceptual completion stage. This is the Bardo of the generation and completion stage of the path, you see. Now, as I mentioned, we have a five skandha. Our form, body, this body, what you see, and what you hear, this sound, the smell, odors, taste, food, now tactile, the touch of the body. This is called the five. This five, we have a five, is consciousness that which relate to the five sensorial objects. So this is the form, it's called form. Then next is the feeling aggregate, feeling aggregates. Feeling is just not just one. Feeling good, feeling bad, feeling neutral, feeling of attachment, feeling of aversion. It's a feeling. And then perception. I perceive this is good. I perceive this is not good. No. This is beautiful. This is not beautiful. This is tall. This is short. So these all perception. Then formation means mental formation. We create through this feeling, through this perception, we create different types of karma. It's called formation. Duche in Tibetan. Le ducheba. Making different types of karma. It's the factory. It's the factory of the karma. Mentally, it's called the 51 mental factors. So the formation. Then consciousness, just as I mentioned, eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, tongue consciousness, body consciousness, and then mental consciousness. There are 6 consciousnesses. So these are the 5 aggregates, the 5 skandhas. Everyone has it. So look at this. Even though it's composed of many causes and conditions, all this, but in our delusion, yet in our confusion, we hold this whole as one. So, I, one. This is so impermanent, so fragile, but we are holding as a permanent. This is me yesterday, last year, when I was young. Not just one permanent thing, without realizing how it's impermanent. And this is the foundation of this all the suffering. This body skandha we have, suffering of aging, suffering of the sickness, suffering of the death. But we're perceiving something joy. And there's no end of suffering, There's, there's a suffering, suffering of change, and suffering of condition are based on these 5 skandha. See, anywhere you go, since like we have here people from Chile to Europe to Asia, Kunjok Dorje from Dharamsala is Asia. Everywhere you say, you go, we find the same. See? And Vietnam, see? Look at this, you see. And I saw some from Singapore, We have a friend in Singapore. Is now like 1 or 2 in the morning, So like this here, anywhere you go, see, that's what Dharma can share to everybody. We're in the same boat, you see, the same boat. So where this suffering. And then this 5 skandha body is the source of all our filth. If your mouth full food, if you throw it in the very clean grassland, it becomes dirty. But we are holding as a clean, you see, one, independent, permanent, and joy, see, and clean. And then no self, holding self. So these, you see, it's called confusion. We're confused on this. So you have to realize this. Realize this, less attached to ourselves. Use this body, a tool to free from samsara, to achieve enlightenment. That's called precious human life. To become a precious, to have a precious human life, the 18 qualities, as you know, all these 18 favorable conditions require to have the precious human life. That becomes such a condition to study, practice the Dharma, so that we can free from entire samsara. See, these are very important points that we have to reflect on. Before say, oh, everything is emptiness, this, that, first you touch the basic. What makes the samsara? First we have to sort out about these things. Then you can talk about the Buddha. Next year said, the pure 5 families of the victorious ones. Then Buddha, the 5 families. Buddha Berusana, Rana Sambhava, Buddha Amitabha, Amoghasiddhi, then Buddha Akyobhya, you see. Buddha Berutanas, you see, is our body, the physical, also it's called the body skanda. When is the body, our body is totally purified, completely purified. You achieve the Buddha Berutana. Our mental affliction of ordinary mind related to this body is called ignorance. When the ignorance is fully purified, then it becomes called equanimity. Not equanimity, it's called Dharma expense. Yes, Dharma expense. Then when this our feeling, sorwa, is purified, then this becomes Buddha Rana Sambhava. The wisdom is equanimity, means both good and bad feelings, the nature is emptiness. Realizing that, no attached to the good feeling, no aversion to the bad feeling, the wisdom of equanimity. And then perception. When that skanda is purified, you achieve the Buddha Amitabha. And then that attachment, desire, when that is purified, then Buddha Amitabha's wisdom is called discriminating wisdom. Clear mind. Everything is, you realize, knowing everything within in that emptiness, no separation, discriminating wisdom, you see. Then mental formation. When the mental formation is purified, especially all the activities creating karma, you achieve the Buddha Amoghasiddhi. See? And that, when the mind, that mental formation is purified, the wisdom is called all accomplishing activity wisdom, benefiting all the sentient beings through the Buddha's wisdom. And the 5th one, when the consciousness is purified, that's skanda, it's called Buddha Akyobhya. And the wisdom is called mirror-like wisdom. Everything's reflection. You realize everything is nothing but reflection. So this is what is called, first you see how we can practice Dharma. The five, first you have to acknowledge we as a samsaric body, this five skandha. And then through that, as mentioned, the error, the confusion state of the mind. And when that is purified, how we can achieve the five Buddhas and the five wisdom. See, this is how, see, please just know, I'm just explaining very roughly, just to you to get some idea. But within in the non-conceptual state of the meditation, both are in the emptiness. This five skandha, the nature is emptiness. The five Buddhas, five wisdom, also emptiness. Within this, there's no difference. See, that's what I say. There are one within the non-conceptual completion stage, say completion stage. In the all-pervading emptiness, within this, there's no difference. See, we are not forcefully making them as a one nature, but we are realizing their nature is nothing but emptiness. See, that's how Dharma is so crucial. These are more taught in the Vajrayana, you see. And the Vajrayana state these teachings, the five Buddhas, all the Idam deities, you see. So our Dharma practice in the Vajrayana, we have to know these things. So the teacher needs a skill how to explain this. And the Dharma practitioners also should have all this information and practice correctly. See.